Hey everybody, fantasy football, tight ends, week 15, playoffs. Let's get going here. So we have the New York Jets versus the Baltimore Ravens. Ryan Griffin on the injury report is a sit. Mark Andrews on the injury report. I would start him if he can't go. I think Nick Boyle is a great waiver plug-in play for this. Now, I know Hayden Hurst, I think he is the better receiver, the better pure pass catcher, and he would be used in this system, and maybe even some different plays would be dialed up. But I like Nick Boyle. He's the better blocker. He's more like Mark Andrews. He's not going to get you Mark Andrews production, but I think he has a good chance to get you in the end zone. Buffalo versus Pittsburgh, neither tight end, or none of the tight ends on either of these teams. I don't have any of them getting into the end zone. Chicago versus Green Bay, nothing from Chicago, please. I don't have any touchdown going to Chicago tight end. Green Bay, Jimmy Graham is a sit for me. I think he can do a lot better even on the waiver wire this year. No touchdown for Jimmy Graham. Denver versus Kansas City, Noah Fant is on the injury report. If he can play, he's interesting. I have him kind of as a fringe start, but not getting into the end zone. For Kansas City, Kelce is a definite start and gets into the end zone for me this week. Let's see here. We have Houston versus Tennessee. Darren Fells is interesting to me. I think he could get in the end zone and is a start grade for me. Jonnu Smith, same exact thing. I think they're projected very similarly. And Ryan Tannehill, he's distributing this ball very well for the Tennessee Titans offense. I think that Jonnu Smith could get in the end zone. I think he is a start grade. Fells and Jonnu Smith, if you're desperate at tight end, can both be had on most people's waiver wire at this point. Miami versus the New York Giants. Let's see here. Miami, Mike Gesicki is a sit. New York Giants, Evan Engram is trying to practice as of the time of this recording. I don't know if he can, but he's going to try to practice on Thursday, and I do have Evan Engram as a start if he can play. Rhett Ellison is still in concussion protocol. I would start him if Evan Engram can't go, and I know I said this last week and got burned a little bit, but Caden Smith, I would actually still start him against Miami as well. It's a really nice matchup for the Giants. Next game, we have New England versus Cincinnati. New England, no, Lacoste, Watson, nobody. I'm not starting any tight end for New England. Cincinnati, I don't have Eifert or Uzomah scoring, so I have them as sits as well. Philadelphia versus Washington. Philadelphia with their wide receiver issues. I actually think both Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, who can, by the way, Dallas Goedert can be found off of waivers. I think they're both starts. I think Ertz gets into the end zone. I think Goedert could actually get into the end zone as well. So touchdown only league if you're desperate at tight end. Dallas Goedert, I think, is the play this week. Washington, nothing at tight end there. I don't care who's playing there. Washington, I am sitting tight end that week. It's going to be a tough one for Washington against that Philadelphia defense. Washington's going to want to run the ball, and they're not going to be able to against Philadelphia. There you go. Spoiler, right? Let's see. Cleveland versus Arizona. David Njoku is very interesting to me. He's on the injury list, though, so check that out. But I do think Njoku off the waivers could get you in the end zone as well. Arizona, I don't have anybody. Max Williams, Charles Clay, I don't have them as starts. Tampa Bay versus Detroit. I've mentioned before, I don't have a good computer projection on O.J. Howard, but I think O.J. Howard takes a big leap forward with the Mike Evans injury this week. I think he's definitely worth a play. It's a risk, mind you. I'm going against my computers here, but I like O.J. Howard. You call it a gut feeling. I like him in daily fantasy lineups as well. You could even look at Cameron Brate. Similar to, I think, Philadelphia, although, at least Tampa Bay still has Chris Godwin. I think Tampa Bay is going to roll over to some tight ends this week. It's just, I know that's schematically not what they do. I take deep dive. I understand that. I really do. But again, I just think given what they have, Bruce Arians is a really good head coach. I don't think he's, if you have the choice between O.J. Howard, think about this. If you have the choice between throwing to O.J. Howard in a clutch spot or Brashad Perriman or Scotty Miller, who would you throw to? I would take O.J. Howard, and I think he will as well. For Detroit, Logan Thomas is great as kind of a fringe start for me, but I don't love, their third-string quarterback throwing them the ball. I think it comes with risk. So even though my analytics like it, I have some trepidation, I'll say that. So let's see. Jacksonville versus Oakland. Jacksonville, I have everybody as a sit at the tight end position. Darren Waller, I think, has a nice game. He gets into the end zone. Foster Moreau is hurt now. He's not going to be playing. So Darren Waller, I think, if somebody's going to take his touchdown away, it's going to be Derek Carrier. But I think Waller will actually get you in the end zone this week. I think he'll play more, and he'll give you a nice game. Atlanta versus San Francisco. Austin Hooper, even against a tough matchup, I like him. And we saw what New Orleans did. 3 touchdowns last week went to tight ends, and I think Austin Hooper will have a nice game and get you into the end zone for sure. George Kittle's a start every week and gets you in the end zone, period. Next game, LA Rams versus Dallas. Gerald Everett's still day-to-day. I'm still on Tyler Higbee this week, and I think Higbee is a start but does not get you in the end zone. Jason Witten, fringe start for me. I don't think he gets into the end zone. And then nobody else for either team. Minnesota versus the Chargers. If Thielen can't go, I like Kyle Rudolph. If Thielen can go, I don't like Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph gets into the end zone if Thielen can't go. Doesn't get in the end zone if Thielen can go. There you go. LA Chargers, Hunter Henry, yes. And I think he gets into the end zone this week as well. Last game of the week, Indianapolis versus New Orleans. Now, Jared Cook is still in injury protocol, so we'll see. I do have that tight end as a start. So if Cook can't go, start Josh Hill. If Cook can go, start Jared Cook, obviously, and I think they could get you into the end zone this week. For Indianapolis, I like Jack Doyle based on volume. I think he can get you into the end zone against New Orleans as well. Check that out, though. New Orleans has been very good in coverage. If New Orleans still has injuries at the linebacker position, I like Jack Doyle a little bit more. Now, he kind of laid an egg last week, which is a bummer. Given that Indianapolis, I think they put up 35 points. I think they lost 38-35, if memory serves. And Jack Doyle laid an egg. It's ridiculous. But, Doyle should be able to get you targets and catches this week. We'll just see. New Orleans has historically been very good covering the tight end this week. So don't expect a big explosion. But I do think he would be a start candidate. So there you go. That takes me through tight ends, everybody. We did quarterbacks, running backs, and wide receivers in other videos. So check those out. Hope everybody wins. Have a great week, and we'll catch you on another episode soon.